Hello, listeners. It's November 1st, 2024, and you're listening to The Path to Calm. Stop overthinking. Become present. Find peace. Today, we're diving into the world of anxiety and overthinking with a chapter-by-chapter preview of I'm Anxious and Can't Stop Overthinking by Nick Trenton. This book offers a unique approach to understanding and managing anxiety through fictional therapy sessions that mirror real-life experiences. Discover practical CBT techniques. Learn to challenge negative thoughts and develop healthier coping mechanisms. Whether you're a seasoned overthinker or just starting your journey to a calmer mind, this book has something to offer. You can find the book on Amazon and the audiobook on Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. For more information on Nick Trenton and his work, visit bit.ly/Nick Trenton.
Session 1. It was a chilly October morning, and Leah didn't know if her hands were shaking because of the cold or because she was about to meet Dr. Amanda Lyndhurst, the psychotherapist whom she'd spoken to on the phone yesterday, but hadn't yet met in person. Was this a stupid idea? I can't believe how expensive this is. Maybe this was a mistake. After all, I bet she sees people who are really messed up all the time, not like me. The door to the reception room opened, and Dr. Amanda appeared. "Hello, it's Leah, isn't it? Please, won't you come in?" Dr. Amanda didn't look quite like Leah had imagined. She was dressed quite plainly, and as they walked into her office, she was surprised to see that her surroundings were just as ordinary. The only thing to suggest that this wasn't just a normal living room was the very obvious arrangement of the chairs. They were pushed to gently face one another at a 45-degree angle, and at once Leah was struck by the idea that the chairs were already engaged in a private session of their own. The pair sat, and Leah perched on the edge of her seat, trying, and failing, to find somewhere to rest her gaze. She couldn't think of what to do or say, so she defaulted to her usual habit, apologizing. "I'm sorry," she gushed. "I haven't done this before. I don't really know how we start or anything." "That's perfectly okay. You're here now, and it's good to meet you." She didn't say anything further, and Leah's heart was now very definitely pounding. Her face felt hot. In a flash, she decided that she hated therapy and was never coming back. This was just too awkward. Plus, it was really, really expensive. "I'm not even sure if this is the right place for me, actually," Leah said. I just don't know what to do anymore, and I need some help. Everyone says you should get therapy, but I'm not super depressed or anything like that. It's just more like, well..." Dr. Amanda didn't jump in to speak. Her face was quiet and calm. Leah could tell she was listening. Strangely, this freaked her out. "Okay. Well, the reason I'm here is because, I guess, I'm quite shy. I'm an introvert, you see. Like I said on the phone yesterday, I'm in my second year of my degree, but college has just been hell. I'm finding it really difficult to make friends. Dating is just a disaster. I don't know. Maybe I have low self-esteem. I don't know. I mean, my childhood was fine, and I don't want to take any medications or anything like that." Here, Dr. Amanda spoke. "Sounds to me like there are lots of things going on in your world right now." Leah scoffed. "Lots of things? Only everything?" To her surprise, Leah found herself instantly emotional. She fought back a tear. I'm sorry, she said, and quickly wiped it away. Leah. Session 2. I've been thinking about what you said last week. I think you got me all wrong. Leah strode into the therapy room and was talking before she'd even sat down. She didn't seem to notice the slightly amused look on Dr. Amanda's face. Whoa, slow down. Hello, Dr. Amanda said. Sorry, I'm being rude. Hello, I've been thinking about what you said. Oh? And what did I say? Dr. Amanda pushed her glasses up her nose a little. Leah wondered at this. Had she always worn glasses? She could not remember them from last time. Had she really overlooked them for the full hour? Leah cleared her throat. She'd been rehearsing a little speech in her head all week, but the moment she opened her mouth, the words came out a lot angrier than she had planned. You said to me that, basically, I'm making myself feel like a loser because thoughts influence the way you feel, right? So the reason I feel like a loser is just because I think I'm a loser. But I've got to say, Dr. Amanda, I think you've really misunderstood me if you think that was what I was saying. And actually, I got to thinking about it, and I think you're wrong to blame me like that. Blame me for being an introvert, for being upset. I can't help the way I am, Dr. Amanda said nothing. So? Said Leah. So what? Said Dr. Amanda. So I think you've got me wrong, that's all. Again, Dr. Amanda said nothing. Leah began to regret her outburst, and yet she felt good that she had spoken up for herself. It was something she never, ever did. Okay, so I've got you wrong, said Dr. Amanda. Then put me right. Here, she leaned forward and picked up a pad of paper and pen, then poised herself ready to write. Let's put it down on paper so we can both be clear about what we are and are not saying. What do you think? Leah gave her a sideways look. She had assumed Dr. Amanda would be annoyed with her, but she was surprisingly calm. Okay, she said. So, tell me, said Dr. Amanda, what is it you think I think about you? Let's write it down. Well, okay, you think that everything in my life is just fine, and I'm making myself unhappy by thinking that I'm a loser, but it's not true. Leah waited for the doctor to argue with her, but there was no sound but the scratching of the pen on paper. Anything else? I'm not wrong to say that, to say that people don't like me. Well, Leah, the last thing in the world I want is for you to feel like I'm attacking or blaming you. That wasn't my intention, and it will never be my intention. But I can see that this has struck a nerve for you. Quickly remind me what degree you're doing. It's a science degree, isn't it? It's chemistry, yes. So, would I be right to assume that you know a little something about hypotheses, about the scientific method? Of course. Good, that's good. Let's try this again, and see if we can get a little further with it. Will you try an experiment with me? Session 3. By the time Leah returned for the third session, she was feeling completely different. She hated to admit it to herself, but for the first time in a long time, there was something a little embarrassing, a little vulnerable happening to her. She had hope. She doesn't know how it would look yet, but she allowed herself just the tiniest permission to hope that her sessions with Dr. Amanda just might possibly work. That this just might be a way forward for her. Although she was not quite ready to let her expectations get too large, lest everything prove to be a flop after all. She arrived at the session filled with cautious, fragile optimism. She proudly presented the completed homework pages to Dr. Amanda, who was pleased to receive them. Leah spent the first 10 minutes of the session chattering excitedly. She had mulled over last week's session and felt she had something of a breakthrough. Dr. Amanda was right. She did have a core belief that she absolutely had to get everyone to like her, or else. And what's more, combined with the homework exercises, her newfound awareness of this core belief meant she was suddenly seeing it everywhere. It really did impact her life in every way. I'm proud of you. I can see you've really taken these exercises and run with them. You're doing good work, said Dr. Amanda. Leah blushed. Well, I guess. Congratulations, she said sardonically. Maybe with 10 more years of therapy, I can eventually just do the normal things that everyone else does without trying, right? Leah gave a bitter laugh, but the mood in the office immediately changed. Dr. Amanda crossed and uncrossed her legs. Leah, when I gave you a compliment, you immediately undermined it. Did you notice that you did that? I was only joking, I guess. Were you? Seems to me you really don't agree when I said that you were doing good work. Well, I mean... Leah threw her hands up in exasperation. This homework you've completed for me was all about taking a closer look at some of your self-talk, the way your core beliefs shape how you think and feel about your life. I think we're seeing your core beliefs play out right now. People with low self-esteem often have a core belief that they are fundamentally worth less than other human beings. Leah thought about this for a moment. She could see what Dr. Amanda was driving at. It was no surprise to anyone that Leah was sometimes down on herself, and often very negative. But she didn't quite agree that it was because she had low self-esteem exactly. Leah didn't think that she was being negative, more like just being realistic. The thing is, I'm an introvert and I'm very shy. I prefer one-on-one interactions, and I like to keep to myself. I'm a quiet person. That often means people don't understand me. And maybe they don't like me because I'm just too different. And maybe they're threatened by that. I'm not like everyone else. I don't fit into the world and all its stupid rules. And I'm tired of trying to. Session 4. It was November 1st, the day after Halloween, and Dr. Amanda and Leah had just seated themselves to begin their 4th session together. The session before had felt tense and even a little dangerous, but now, in the warm autumn light, it was hard to ignore that a certain friendliness had appeared in the room. Leah really didn't know anything about Dr. Amanda, yet she was beginning to feel a lot more comfortable around her. It wasn't that she felt that Dr. Amanda was her friend. It was different somehow. It felt more like a kind of trust, a kind of honesty. Leah was beginning to feel like she could talk about anything with Dr. Amanda, and today, during the 4th session, she wondered just how much soul-bearing she might allow herself to indulge in. The two began chatting about Halloween, and Leah explained that she'd gone to a party the night before, hosted by a fellow student in her course. She proudly told Dr. Amanda that even though she was hesitant, she pushed herself to wear a fancy dress costume that would definitely draw attention. This, Leah thought, was a good sign. It showed that she was challenging these things that they were beginning to uncover together, these unspoken rules she had been play-acting. It showed that she was building her self-esteem. "Tell me more about this costume," said Dr. Amanda. "Well, I went as a moth." "A moth?" "Yes, It was amazing. I had this beautiful cape, you see, kind of printed with these moth wing colors. And then on my head, I wore these giant antennae, fuzzy moth antennae, and had this awesome bodysuit made out of, like, fur, to make me look fuzzy. Wow. Sounds like a lot of work went into that costume. It did. I actually made it last year, but never got round to wearing it. So I thought this year, I'm going to do it. Dr. Amanda smiled warmly. The thing about the costume, Leah continued, is that to see the full effect, you have to open your arms really wide, like this. She stood up and demonstrated. And that way, you can see all these amazing colors in the wings, I can see how that would have grabbed attention. Yeah, it really did. This is going to sound stupid, though. Tell me. I also wore this kind of silvery wig. Leah paused and peered, as Dr. Amanda thought to check what she thought of this. Is that stupid? She said. Seems like wearing a wig on Halloween is exactly the right thing to do. Well, yeah, but for me it wasn't easy. No. I was thinking about what we were saying, about roles and core beliefs. I don't know. This wig thing was... She struggled to find the words. What were you thinking when you put that wig on? Leah thought for a long time. Honestly? Dr. Amanda laughed. Of course, honestly. What else are we here for, Well, honestly, I felt like a fake. Like a fake. Tell me more what you mean by that. Oh, I don't know. When I was at home and I looked in the mirror. Session 5. I think I have an answer for you. I can't wait to hear it, said Dr. Amanda. What I would tell this guy, the guy who was afraid of elephants, is that he'd have to trust me and let me take the mouse away from him, just for a short time, so that he could see that no elephants attacked him. And then he'd prove to himself that it wasn't the mouse keeping them away at all. That sounds like a smart thing to do. Sounds a bit like an experiment. Yeah, exactly. I'd tell him, let's test it. Let's see if this mouse is really doing anything for you. If we take it away and no elephants come, then we have proper evidence that you're safe and that you don't need this mouse anymore. You're really getting it, Leah. And I'm sure you can see why I told you that little story. Well, that's what I'm not perfectly clear on, actually. I'm trying to understand what I have in common with this guy. Well, maybe you have a mouse, too. I think we all have our own version of the mouse. Well, what's my mouse, then? Well, let's think about it. In the story, why does the man keep the mouse? He keeps it because he thinks it will help him stay safe. Exactly. We all have beliefs like that. The rules and roles I told you about, that we carry around with us because, in one way or another, we believe that they will protect us, keep us safe. The mouse is really just a set of beliefs, of ideas. So, I have ideas and beliefs that I carry with me that I use to keep me safe. I wonder what they could be. I think we spoke about it already once before. You mean my core belief, the role I play? But I don't understand. If I see myself as a bad person, if I see myself as an introvert and all that, then, well, that doesn't keep me safe. Doesn't it? Remind me what you do, what actions you take when you believe that you're inferior and bad and different. I guess I said that I don't do much of anything. I hide away. Why hide away? Well, because, like I said, people are mean. People judge you. Aha. So, I can see something you might like to protect yourself from. So you're saying, if I hide away and don't do anything, then that means I'll protect myself? Maybe. What might you want to protect yourself from? Other people judging me. Exactly. In one of our early sessions, we uncovered that core belief. If people don't like me, it means I'm a bad person. If you hide away, though, then people can't judge you, so you're safe. Leah stewed over this for a moment. I guess that does make sense. So, my mouse is this idea that I have to hide away. I can't think of a word that you've used before to describe exactly that kind of person. Introvert? You mean introvert, don't you? Dr. Amanda laughed. So you're telling me that my mouse is the idea I have of myself. The idea that I'm an... Session 6. On the 6th session, Leah started chatting comfortably with Dr. Amanda, expressing how fast the time had gone and how surprised she had been by all the twists and turns. Initially, she had thought 3 sessions would be on the long side, but now she felt like they were just getting started, and could easily imagine them doing at least 10 together. Before you go on, and I forget, said Dr. Amanda, did you complete the homework? Or, as I should say, conduct the experiment? Oh, that. Leah looked out the window. How did it go? Well, I was waiting for you to ask. It's weird, actually. Wait. Before you tell me what result you got, I want to remind myself of the prediction you made, the hypothesis. Dr. Amanda pulled out some notes from the session before, pushed her glasses up the bridge of her nose, and read out loud. I'm going to make a fool of myself. People will laugh at me. I'll come back and tell Dr. Amanda that the whole thing was a disaster. Do you remember that we wrote this down together? Leah nodded, but bit her lip. The thing is, Dr. Amanda, I'll admit that that didn't happen. Maybe my prediction was wrong, I'll give you that. But tell me what happened. Well, it's like we agreed. I went to my tutorial. About 20 minutes in, the guys start asking some questions, like making a mind map, and I speak up and share this little idea I had. Actually, I was directly disagreeing with this other guy who always talks in class. I just came out and gave my own opinion. A different opinion. And the tutor wrote it up on the board. Did they laugh at you? Nah. Was it a disaster? No, it wasn't. In fact, nothing happened at all, really. It was weird. Why was it weird? I expected them to say something, but they just sort of moved on. In fact, I spoke up again later on, and the same thing happened. They ignored you? No, not at all. It was just kind of uneventful. Seems like you're almost disappointed that things didn't catch fire or something. Dr. Amanda laughed. I mean, kinda. It was sort of like not a bad outcome, but not a good one either. So, you spoke up in class and, well, nothing really happened? No mockery, no congratulations. You know what I think, Dr. Amanda? I think people were really just caught up in their own stuff. I mean, they did listen to me. They put my point on the board. Like, I actually did take part in the conversation. But I guess the whole thing just felt normal. Normal. Dr. Amanda sat back in her chair. You predicted that people would somehow penalize you for putting yourself out there. They didn't do that. No. They didn't behave as though they thought, Oh, here comes Leah. She's such a weirdo introvert. We all wish she would just shut up. No. So who does think that, then? Yeah, I know, it's me. Session 7. When Leah walked into her 7th session with Dr. Amanda, she was sullen and withdrawn. Dr. Amanda greeted her with friendly curiosity, and Leah instantly burst into tears. It was a good 5 minutes, and a dozen tissues, before Leah could gather herself again, and, snuffling, explain why she was so upset. It's all gone to hell, and I'm so done with it all, she said, eyes red. She continued on, but Dr. Amanda had to interrupt. Leah, slow down. Just tell me what's happened. Last week when I saw you, you were telling me you felt ready to stop therapy because you'd made so much progress. And now you're clearly very upset. What's happened between then and now? Leah sulked and stared at the floor. Well, I'll tell you what's happened. You can take out that paper of yours with all my predictions written on it, because it turns out I was actually right all along. You were? Leah blew her nose. It's so embarrassing. They laughed at me, okay? You promised they wouldn't, and lo and behold, they did. We were giving an end-of-term presentation, and I slipped and fell. I really slipped. I actually hurt myself pretty badly. And these two girls in the front totally just laughed at me. I was humiliated. I wanted to just die. They saw how upset I was, and one of them said, I can't even tell you what they said. I'm so embarrassed. Dr. Amanda was stunned. Leah, I'm sorry to hear this. That sounds really difficult. You said you hurt yourself. Are you okay now? Well, my ego's pretty bashed up. But other than that, whatever. Leah, Dr. Amanda said eventually, I didn't promise you that they wouldn't laugh. There was a harsh, icy silence in the office. Whatever, Leah eventually repeated. It doesn't matter now. I'm done with it anyway. Done with what? All of it. Everything. Therapy, that stupid class. I don't care anymore. Again, the silence. I can see this has really shaken you up, said Dr. Amanda, carefully trying to choose her next words. Everything was going fine, and then those two girls. Oh, I hate them. Leah, you told me to look at my paper again and revisit all those predictions you made, all the work we did on your core beliefs, your rules, your roles, all of that. I could certainly dig those up for us. But to tell you the truth, I don't see that anything's changed. What? Everything's changed. Oh? So, all those awful thoughts about yourself, the ones you so successfully challenged before, none of that counts anymore? Leah said nothing. Last session, you were telling me that you were beginning to enjoy speaking up in class, and you were practicing talking to yourself with compassion, remember? I think you were really enjoying some of that. Yeah, but none of it worked. Session 8. It was Christmas time. The days grew short and gray, and the year itself seemed to loosen up, tired after a long year of schedules and to-do lists. Leah canceled a few sessions with Dr. Amanda so she could spend some time back home with her family. Dr. Amanda cleared her schedule and did the same. Still, the two women were on one another's minds. As Leah went about her days, she found herself wondering now and then, what would Dr. Amanda say right now? In the same way, Dr. Amanda couldn't help occasionally thinking, where is Leah now? And how's she doing? Part of Leah felt a little nervous to give up her weekly sessions for a while, secretly wondering if the wheels would come off without Dr. Amanda there. She liked and missed Dr. Amanda. Were they friends? Well, not really, but somehow they were more than friends. More than once, Leah had caught herself thinking that what she really wanted was to show Dr. Amanda how much progress she'd made. She allowed herself to daydream about that moment in the unclear future where she could sit up proudly in her seat and say, "Dr. Amanda, I don't need you anymore." In a nice way, of course. When Leah arrived for session 8, she was feeling so very different about things than she had a few months before. Dr. Amanda had given her lots to read, lots of worksheets to complete, and one or two, frankly, terrifying behavioral experiments to try. In other words, they had a lot to catch up on. The two chatted happily about the Christmas holidays and all the usual cozy topics of conversation that rose naturally that time of year. Playful gripes about overeating, dealing with difficult relatives, how much it had snowed. But the small talk quickly gave way to the juicier topics that both had been eager to tackle again. "So, I did the experiments," Leah said with a grin. "Amazing. Well done, you. Tell me all about it." "Well, it was interesting. I decided to do the banana exercises, remember?" Here, Leah was referring to what was sometimes called a shame-attacking exercise. People who struggled with assertiveness, low self-esteem, and inhibition were challenged to do something wildly out of their comfort zones just to prove to themselves that not only could they do it, and not only did their worst prediction not come true, but in a strange way, they even enjoyed it. Common shame-attacking exercises including asking strangers for money, ordering a pair of shoes for dinner at a restaurant, riding the escalator standing backward, or taking a banana for a walk on a piece of string around the mall. This was why Leah called these activities banana exercises. Leah had given herself the task of saying exactly what she'd thought of her aunt's perennially awful Christmas gifts, and also of wearing something outrageously glamorous and over-the-top to a Christmas party. Though she was pretty sure she would die from embarrassment doing either of these things, she did them. "So, did you die?" Session 9. A curious thing can start to happen to people as they develop more robust psychological health, grow more resilient, and begin to challenge old limiting patterns of self-belief. Dr. Amanda is familiar with how paradoxical some of these things can seem. On the one hand, her clients grow in leaps and bounds. On the other, they start encountering new problems. Why? Imagine a person with agoraphobia, a fear of leaving the house and of crowds, who works hard to overcome that fear. They genuinely find ways to get on top of the intense fear they have every time they walk out of the door. But something else happens. They're suddenly confronted with the normal, everyday problem of the stress and hassle of interacting with other people as they go about their day. This new challenge is unexpected and sometimes demoralizing. The person with agoraphobia is so busy overcoming the big fear that they never realize their lack of skill in managing the small, everyday fears, the ones that everyone deals with as a matter of course, the ones they were able to avoid, essentially, by staying indoors. Consider another example. Someone who has worked hard to reverse a pathological shyness and timidity. Well, yes, let's say the someone is Leah. They may discover with the jolt there's a whole world out there, a world they've never had to interact with before under the cover of their old negative patterns. Leah made immense progress when she started to challenge her black and white thinking about other people. They'll all dislike me, they're all the same, and I'm the only one who's different. She discovered that there was a whole universe of gray area she had never really appreciated before, and she would need to learn to navigate that gray area. For Leah, the big lesson is to learn that she is not, in fact, worthless. She has value and dignity as a human being. She can love and accept herself, and is someone who has as much right to take up space in the world as anyone else. And that is a mammoth mountain to climb. Now that she's climbed that mountain, however, she finds herself in the more ordinary, normal realm, and realizes that every day there are dozens of smaller hills and valleys she has to traverse. There are conversations that can only be navigated with sophisticated communication skills. There are minor conflicts and misunderstandings to resolve. There are annoyances and small obligations that can't be avoided. There are times of boredom. Leah has a new set of ideas. Some people will like her, some won't. Now, her work is living in that complex, varied space, which, paradoxically, is a lot harder than the space she occupied when she could issue a blanket statement about all humanity and not think about it again. The person overcoming depression is not just learning to let go of deep and unhealthy despair. They're also learning how to experience ordinary, rational sadness. The person overcoming anxiety is not just learning to question the assumption that everything always leads to their most catastrophic feared outcomes. They're also learning how to experience ordinary, rational nervousness and aversion. Session 10. Tell me about this thing you mentioned in your message the other day, the exchange program. Oh, I can't believe it, but I signed up to express my interest. If I'm interviewed and accepted, they'll send me to China to go and talk about our work at the department and meet some fellow international students, said Leah. Wow, that sounds so exciting. It is. It'll be 2 whole weeks we're gone. You've got to understand, I've never even left the state. Can you imagine me going all the way to China? And when I'm there giving talks and presentations and meeting all sorts of people, what an opportunity. When do you find out whether they've accepted your application or not? Here, Leah looked uncomfortable. End of next week sometime, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I should have signed up at all. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but now I'm wondering whether I've bitten off more than I can chew. Well, you certainly don't have to go. You have a little time yet to decide what you want to do. I know. I don't want to regret anything, of course. It'll be ages before they host something like this ever again, if they do. So, if I want to, I have to take my chance now. Sounds like it's something you're curious about. Sure. But, on the other hand, Leah had a bad case of analysis paralysis. She had been doing the scheduled worry technique like Dr. Amanda had suggested. She had curbed her voracious self-help book hunger and had been consciously trying to let go when she noticed her mind going round and round in circles. But her mind kept getting jammed on one worry. Did she really have it in her to do this big trip? Yes, she thought so. But was she ready? Really ready? Doing the exchange program was a chance in a lifetime that she'd regret not taking. But might she also regret taking it too? The decision was driving her crazy. She felt frozen with uncertainty. Leah, I feel like in the beginning of our work together, we focused a lot on your core beliefs. And I'm proud of just how much progress you've made in that area in a relatively short time. Now, this is our final session. Of course, my door is always open, but from here on out, we'll be parting ways. I know. It's kind of nerve-wracking. Well, Leah, a lot of people find the end of therapy a little uncomfortable. It can bring up some feelings, and it can be kind of awkward. But the thing to keep focusing on is that even though what we did in our sessions together is over, in a way, you're just getting started. You're going to go out in the world and go on living, go on making your life what you want it to be, using everything we learned in this room. Leah sighed. What would you say if I told you that feeling a little indecisive right now is perfectly normal? Dr. Amanda continued. It is? Oh, absolutely. You've learned many new skills, but you haven't had all that long to practice them yet. The follow-up session. 7 months after Dr. Amanda and Leah's 10th session, Leah returned to complete her checkup, and, if she was honest, to brag a little to Dr. Amanda about how well she'd done. She had important news. She was bursting to share. She'd met someone, and it was going really well. That's great news, Leah. It really is. We've only been seeing each other for a few months now, but I don't know. I have a really good feeling about all of it. And the China trip? Come on. You know I'm dying to hear about that. The China trip. Which one? Leah laughed, and then she explained. The trip had gone so well that she had been invited back 2 months later, and she was now working on a research project with a team there, an accolade she'd never dreamed could be hers. I did have a few bad weeks, though, I have to admit, around the anniversary of my mom's death. I know we never really talked about all that, but I think, to be honest, I wasn't really ready to go there. But all of a sudden, it was like a bunch of old memories came flooding back, and I was a kid again. You know, Dr. Amanda, I feel like there's a lot of unresolved childhood trauma there. Well, what do you mean by that? What's childhood trauma? By now, Leah was used to Dr. Amanda's Socratic questioning style, the way she always played dumb and asked her to explain herself. To Leah, it had seemed slightly annoying at first, but she quickly learned that forcing yourself to slow down and explain exactly what you meant usually revealed just how many unfounded assumptions you were working from. In fact, this little habit of questioning her most knee-jerk explanations, interpretations, and assumptions was something she'd picked up from Dr. Amanda, and now she did it herself. What do I mean by childhood trauma? I don't know. Leftover pain from the past? Unresolved things from your childhood that you haven't processed yet? She ventured. I see. And what might all this unresolved and unprocessed stuff look like right now, in the present moment? It would look like, well, it would look like a poor attachment style, or an unintegrated shadow. Maybe it would look like a whole bunch of negative communication habits. I can see you've been doing a lot of reading again. I know. It's just that I guess I'm afraid that since I'm dating someone now, and it's looking pretty serious, I don't want to mess that up with all my drama and baggage. Do you have drama and baggage? Doesn't everyone? Dr. Amanda lifted her eyebrows quizzically, and Leah contemplated her own question. You already know that I'm a CBT therapist, Leah, and that means that although I can recognize the impact of the past, what I'm really interested in is the present, because that's the one and only place where any of us has any power to do what counts. What counts is taking action. I always have this little joke I tell my client.
Hello, listeners. It's November 1st, 2024, and you're listening to The Path to Calm. Stop overthinking.